Om Agyantimrandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanshcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishbhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. To start continuing with the Bhagavad Gita, we start with the chapter 2. I think we did till text 10, so we'll do onwards. Text 11 till 22, I believe. Yeah, till 22. Hare Krishna. So far, Arjun spoke his confusions, his doubts, and now Krishna will start speaking. And when he starts speaking, then let me, okay, I can read on this one. So Krishna will start speaking and giving different logics, different reasons for why Arjun should participate in the battle. So text 11, starting on text 11. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha Ashochananva Shochastvam Pragyavadan Shubhashase Gatasu Nagatasuncha Nanu Shochanti Pandita. So again, Vedvyasi, whenever he is addressing that, he's letting people know that Krishna is speaking and he's saying Shri Bhagwan Vacha. Just to make us understand, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And now Krishna is saying, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you're mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. So indirectly, Krishna is telling Arjun that you're a fool. This is the opening statement of Krishna. Means he's saying, you're mourning, you're lamenting for people, for something which is not worthy of grief. But he's, on the other hand, he's saying those who are wise, those who are intelligent, they don't lament, neither for the living nor for the dead. Means you're indirectly he's telling Arjun, you're a fool number one. And this is how Prabhupada starts. The Lord at once took the position of the teacher and chastised the student, calling him indirectly a fool. The Lord said, you're talking like a learned man, but you do not know that one who is learned, one who knows what is body and what is soul, does not lament for any stage of the body, neither in the living nor in the dead condition. So the Prabhupada writes, as explained in later chapters, it will be clear that knowledge means to know matter and spirit and the controller of both. So the person who has knowledge, he knows the difference between matter and spirit. Arjun argued that religious principles should be given more importance than politics or sociology. But he did not know that knowledge of matter, soul, and the supreme is even more important than religious formularies. And because he was lacking in that knowledge, he should not have posed himself as a very learned man. So far, Arjun gave 5 reasons that I'm not going to enjoy. He had compassion, and he said it's a sin. He said the family will be destroyed. And the 5th reason that he had was confusion. He didn't know what to do. And from his point of view, he was quite right. He was talking from that point of view, that religious principles. But even higher than that principle is the knowledge of soul and matter and the supreme, and of our duty towards our supreme Lord. The body is born and is destined to be vanquished today or tomorrow. Therefore, the body is not as important as the soul. One who knows this is actually learned, and for him there is no cause for lamentation, regardless of the condition of the material body. Of course, the lamentation will be there even if somebody dies, even if somebody is a Brahman, Pandit, devotee, and if anybody dies in his family, it's a source of lamentation. It's not that a person who becomes a devotee becomes a stone-hearted man. No, he will have full of emotions. But his lamentation will be rightly placed because he will be lamenting for the loss of association of that person, of that soul who left this world and hopefully went back to spiritual world, or even if he has taken birth in a better family or better body. So the lamentation will be there for not having any more association of that person, of that devotee. But not lamentation for the body, because as a Vaishnava, as a devotee, one understands that the body is separate from the soul, and the soul has to leave the body ultimately. And then Krishna, giving him more knowledge of the body and the soul, he further states, Na tvevaham na tvam neme janadhipa na chaiv na bhavishyamaha sarve vaimatah param. Shobha Mataji, can I mute you?
Okay, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mata. Then Krishna says, neither was it there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So Krishna here is saying, there was never a time when I did not exist, you did not exist, and any of the kings. See, in these words, Krishna said so many times, not. 3 times he said, Na tvevaham jatunasam, na tvam neme janadipa, na chayo, na bhavishyama. So many times he said no. He could have said, we have always existed to Arjuna, but he knew there would be many commentators on Bhagavad Gita. So just to clear any doubt in the minds of all the commentators or the readers of Bhagavad Gita, he said never was there a time. Means there's no doubt that any time that thing happened. I mean, if he had said we had always existed, the commentators or the doubters would have said, no, there must be some time he did not exist. But he said the logic the other way around. He said never was there a time I did not exist, you did not exist, nor all these kings. But he is not referring to the bodies. This body that Arjun had and all the kings, of course, Krishna's body is eternal. He is non-different from his body. Basically, that's what the position of Krishna is. But for us, those who are in the material bodies, our bodies change. We change all the time. We are here in this body, like later on we'll see in the verses. Even in this life that we know of, the body keeps on changing. But Krishna is referring to the soul. That the Arjun, your soul and the soul of all these kings, they were always there, and they are here and they'll always be present, no matter which body you all are in. And Prabhupada writes this purport. It's a long purport. And if you go to the second paragraph, the Mayavadi theory that after liberation, the individual soul, separated by the covering of Maya or illusion, will merge into the impersonal Brahman and lose its individual existence is not supported herein by Lord Krishna, the supreme authority. Nor is a theory that we only think of individuality in the conditioned state supported herein. Krishna clearly says herein that in the future also, the individuality of the Lord and others, as it is confirmed in the Upanishads, will continue eternally. So this is the meaning the word Sanatan, because we read so many times this word Sanatan or Nitya. Like Prabhupada quoted this verse in the first paragraph, Nityo Nityanam Chetna Chetnanam. Means he is saying, of all the Nityas, means of all the eternals, eternal souls, I am the topmost eternal. So Mayavadis, they claim, just like saying, so aham, I am that, or aham brahmasmi, I am Brahman, and or they claim that in the end we merge into the Brahm Jyoti and we lose our identity. This is a very favorable comment by all the Mayavadi philosophers, or this is the philosophy. But in this verse, Krishna has completely negated that philosophy. He said, this is nonsense philosophy. He says, we have always existed, you have always existed, all these kings have always existed. Now you are existing, and even in the future, you will always do. Never will there be a time when we did not exist and you all did not exist. Always will be there. So you're not going to merge and lose our individuality. So sometimes this Mayavadi philosopher says the individuality in this verse that Krishna is speaking is of the body. That as a body you always existed, or okay, even in the previous life you had a different body, and this life you have a body, and further on you'll have a body till you don't get liberated. But Prabhupada writes, in the previous verse, when Krishna said, "O Arjun, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead." He is already putting down this concept of that we are this body. Means he is not stressing on the fact that that we should think that we are this body. Just like Prabhupada writes in this on next page, the Mayavadi argues that the plurality mentioned in this verse is conventional and that it refers to the body. But previous to this verse, such a bodily conception is already condemned. After condemning the body conception of the living entities, how was it possible for Krishna to place a conventional proposition on the body again? So in the previous verse, he condemned this body convention, the idea of that we are this body. So how can he stress the importance on body again? So definitely, therefore, individuality is mentioned on spiritual grounds and is thus confirmed by great acharyas like Sri Ramanuja and others. It is clearly mentioned in many places in Gita that this spiritual individuality is understood by those who are devotees of the Lord. Those who are envious of Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead have no bona fide access to the great literature. Means they cannot understand the real import, the real meaning of Bhagavad Gita. And the real meaning is when Krishna is putting the stress on the soul, not the body. And later on also, so many verses Krishna speaks about when he is stressing on the presence and the importance of soul, which is separate from the body. And later on, last lines, if individuality refers to the empirical universe, then there is no need of teaching by the Lord. Like the plurality of the individual soul and the Lord is an eternal fact, and it is confirmed by the Vedas as above mentioned. Like many times they say, oh, this individuality that we are talking about, it's just here for time being till we get out of this illusion of Maya. Ultimately, we all are one, we all become one. But this is not what is supported by Krishna or by the Vedic literature. First, when he says, Nityo Nityanam, Nitya means eternal. Eternal means no beginning, no end. We will always exist as individuals. And if the individuality, like Prabhupada is saying, if it refers to empirical universe, means afterwards we all are going to become one, then Krishna wouldn't have stressed on that. And moreover, if we all are going to become one, means we all are Krishna, we all are God, we all are same, then there is no need for this whole Vedic literature or the text or the scriptures. Or spending so much time, Krishna is spending so much time here in this chapter to discuss the difference of the body and the soul. If we all are one, then forget it. Why all the teachings? What is the use of the teachings? We are going to become one anyway. So what's the matter of teaching if one God is speaking to another God? What's the difference? Why? If we all are God, then why bother about learning anything? So one God is teaching the other God. One God has come under Maya and the other God is not under Maya. If God is under Maya, if comes under Maya, then Maya has to be stronger than God. Then what is the meaning of teachings of that God? If we all are God, it doesn't make sense. Any questions so far? Should I unmute you all? Because I know this philosophy is a little too difficult to understand. Any questions? Or should we go further?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, in the purport there is some mention about 4 defects of human frailty. What are those 4
defects? 4 defects. Where is it mentioned? In the purport?
Yes, Prabhuji. The common man with all the 4 defects of human frailty is unable to teach that which is worth hearing. So it is birth, life, death, and old age.
No. 4 defects that are common to every conditioned soul is he has a propensity to cheat, his senses are imperfect, Bhram, Pramad, Vipralipsa, Karan Pata. He is in illusion. He gets illusioned and cheating propensity, illusion, senses imperfect, and there's one more. Bhram, Pramad, Vipralipsa, Karan Pata. I don't remember the 4th one. So that's why when a conditioned soul, he has all these defects. So anything that conditioned soul writes or speaks has no value. So that's why it's always like the scriptures did not come from conditioned soul. Like Vedyas was not a conditioned soul, it was a self-realized soul. So when a person like that, when he writes something, it has a value. Conditioned soul will four defects. When he writes something, it has no spiritual value. It can have some, like technical books are there, yes, they are of some importance for people who want to look technical line, but spiritually it has no value. And Krishna is not who comes under Maya, who has these four defects, or is pure devotees. So when they say something, when they write something, it has value. It is very potent, and it's the absolute truth. So that's what the four defects means. So illusion, cheating propensity, uh, imperfect senses, and there's one more. It's just not coming to my mind right now. Prabhupada writes in one of the purports he has described, so we can read whenever we get there. Okay.
And Prabhuji, we are talking of the individuality here and eternal individuality. So the other day you told that when Mahavishnu inhales, all of us, we go inside Mahavishnu, and when he exhales, we come out. So what happens when we go inside Mahavishnu? Do they still remain individual?
Yeah. Even when these philosophers, Mayavadi philosophers, say that we merge in Brahm Jyoti, even in Brahm Jyoti, the soul does not leave the individuality. It remains as a spark, separate spark. Some places it is mentioned, it just like a green parrot, when he flies and he goes inside a tree, sits on one of the branches which has green leaves, but still the green parrot does not lose its individuality. It remains as a green parrot. It does not merge into the tree. So even in Brahm Jyoti, when the soul goes and stays for some time, even from there it falls down. Bhagavatam says that it falls down because the soul does not find the pleasure. There is no ananda of service to the Supreme Lord. So he falls down from there. So the individuality still remains. The soul, like when we discuss or when we study the different characteristics of soul, we'll see you cannot cut the soul, we cannot burn the soul, you cannot do anything to the soul. So how come it will lose the individuality even after
Thank you, Prabhuji.
that? Okay. So next verse we'll go to. देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिर्धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a. So Arjun basically here asked, okay, Krishna, you're saying we are all individual souls. What happened to the soul when we are in the body, when the body keeps on changing? So Krishna is answering this question, that as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at time of death. A sober person means dhira. Dhira person is not bewildered by such a change. For a person who's sober, one who has knowledge, he understands, okay, the body is changing. Like when we see our old pictures in albums, okay, we were young, we were little babies, we got little older, we were young, now we are like in the middle age, and then we'll pass on when we leave the body, when we die, we'll pass on to new body, another body. It's just a change of body. Soul remains the same. Since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. It's only that in this body, when we are changing in this life, when we are changing the bodies, the change is so gradual that we don't notice. But if we look at our old pictures, we will notice a change. At the time of death, the change is very abrupt. All of a sudden, we change the body. So that's when people start lamenting or have all sorts of misconceptions about the body. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. Its soul is going to change. Soul remains the same. This individual soul finally changes at death and transmigrates to another body. And since it's sure to have another body in the next birth, either material or spiritual, there was no cause for lamentation by Arjuna on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor for Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice for the changing bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. In fact, Arjun should be happy, like Prabhupada is writing, that Bhishma and Drona, they're going to leave their old, wrinkly, diseased body and they'll get a new body. Of course, Bhishma and Drona, since they are self-realized souls, they will get a spiritual body in the spiritual atmosphere. But even if Arjuna is thinking they'll die and get a new material body, but at least they'll get a new body. So he should not, he shouldn't have lamented. Any man who has perfect knowledge of the constitution of the individual soul, the super soul and nature, both material and spiritual, is called a dhira or a most sober man. Such a man is never deluded by the change of bodies. We're changing the body, that's it. The Mayavadi theory of oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground that the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as a fragmental portion. It's just Mayavadis, like Prabhupada always talks against the Mayavadi philosophy. Mayavadis, you know what they say, our relationship with the Supreme Lord is like if we have a big piece of paper and we tear it up in small pieces of paper. So once that big piece of paper is torn up in small pieces of paper, the big piece of paper is gone. Now they are only small pieces of paper. And once the small pieces of paper are put together, again we'll have the big piece of paper. But later on when Krishna talks about the soul is, you cannot cut the soul. If you cannot cut the soul, you cannot cut the super soul either. The supreme soul either, you cannot cut, one cannot cut. So it doesn't matter if we give the example of big piece of paper and small pieces of paper, that's a material example. And this does not fit in the case of Supreme Lord and the presence of all the souls. He is also eternal and we are also eternal. There was never a time we did not exist either in the material world or in the spiritual world. We are always there. Of course, it is said that we are part and parcel of Krishna, right? That Ansha word will come again and again. Yes, we are part and parcel of Krishna, but we were never like merged inside the body of Krishna that we came out from. It's not like that. Because in material world, our intelligence is limited by time and space. That's why it is for us to just give us some understanding that we are part of Krishna. Part of Krishna does not mean sometimes like we are part of machine, sometimes we are inside the machine and we are out. No, we are always away from outside Krishna, we are always individual. The example of machine and the part is we were in the big plan of Krishna. Now we have our own plan in the material world. We are trying to fulfill those desires. But other than that, we are always part of Krishna. But that doesn't mean we were in the body of Krishna. It's hard to understand, I know. Just like for example, when Krishna speaks, or it is mentioned in Bhagavatam, the Krishna's first expansion is Lord Balramji. But first expansion does not mean at any time Balramji was not present. Or then from Balramji, the expansion is Sankarshan, Anirudh, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva. So that doesn't mean what happened before Balramji expanded. No, there was no time when Sankarshan, Anirudh, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva were not there. So first expansion does not mean there was a time when sometimes some philosophers also talk about Krishna, God was alone, and for his recreation, he created this material and spiritual universe. Means he was sitting, he was bored, and then he had to create all this. No. The creation was always there and is always there, will always be there. Spiritual world was always there. Material world, it is always there, but it manifests and unmanifests different times. That's all. It's very hard for us to conceive of something which has no beginning and no end. Because we always see things which has beginning and it has end. But the creation, Krishna's creation is like that. No beginning, no end. It can change the form. Just like we are sitting in our different rooms, we have so many things in our rooms. So the energy has taken the shape of different things in our room. It can change the form, but the energy will always be there. It can change the shape, but the energy will always be there. It's hard, very hard to understand. But this is the philosophy that we have to understand. Okay, Prabhupada is writing, such cutting into different individual souls would make the supreme cleavable or changeable against the principle of the supreme souls being unchangeable as contrary to nature. These fragmental portions are eternally so, and even after liberation, the individual soul remains the same, means fragmental. But once liberated, he lives an eternal life in bliss and knowledge with the personality of Godhead. The theory of reflection can be applied to Supersoul, who is present in each and every individual body and is known as a Paramatma. So there is one theory of reflection. Reflection means there is one God in just in different buckets of water. If we fill it with water, and we see the reflection of the moon. So they say individual soul is just a reflection of the God in different bodies. But no, that reflection can be referred to Paramatma. The Paramatma is, although his functions are different, but he is not different from Supreme Lord himself. He is different from the individual living entity. When the sky is reflected in water, the reflections represent both the sun and the moon and the stars also. The stars can be compared to the living entities and the sun or the moon to the Supreme Lord. The individual fragmental spirit soul is represented by Arjuna, and the Supreme Soul is a personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. They are not on the same level as it will be apparent in the beginning of the 4th chapter. If Arjuna is on the same level with Krishna, just like Mayavadis say, we all are same, and Krishna is not superior to Arjuna, then their relationship of instructor and instructed becomes meaningless. If both of them are deluded by the illusory energy Maya, then there is no need of one being the instructor and the other the instructed. So under the circumstance, it is admitted that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord, superior in position to the living entity, Arjun, who is a forgetful soul deluded by Maya. This is also one of the reasons Vedvyasi always wrote Shri Bhagavan Vacha whenever Krishna starts speaking. Just for us to understand, Krishna is not just like a bewildered soul like Arjun. He is a Supreme Lord himself. He does not come under Maya. So whatever he speaks, it's for the ultimate benefit of us all. Is it, I hope it's clear. Should we go further? Let me unmute you all. Any questions? Yes, Prabhu. No? Archana Mataji, Hare Krishna. Welcome to the class.
Hare Krishna.
First time you're coming to the class.
Yes, because I was busy in Bhagavad, Bhagavad Katha was going on from past 15 days nearby.
Okay.
So today was the last day, and that's why I was not been able to. 3 to 6 was I used to be there. So I said simultaneously both sides of Katha was going on.
What did they discuss in Bhagavatam Katha?
There, I attended all the classes or session. So there were so many things. So it was not one thing. Pura Parikshit ka the entire, how he got sharp, and then Pura Shukdev Maharaj ji ne unko pura kaise sunaya. Everything I listened. It's quite good. So I started with you today.
We also have Bhagavatam Katha every morning, 8:30 to 9, at least Monday through Friday. So
That's going.
Monday through Friday.
Bhagavad Gita is going on now, 8 to 9.
No. Gita is on weekend, 4 to 5, and every morning is Bhagavatam.
Okay. I thought that Gita is going every day and Bhagavatam is on weekend.
No, it's the other way around.
Okay.
So please join us in the morning also. It's
Yes.
for half an hour only.
I do. Now I do. I'm as I told you, I was busy there. So.
Yeah. So this philosophy of Gita, I know it's difficult to understand. And especially when there's this Mayavadis. Mayavadis are ones who say we all are one or we all are going to become one after liberation. And they give different kinds of philosophies. And that's very confusing. It's not in line with the philosophy that Krishna is speaking in Bhagavad Gita. So if everybody is okay, we can go further. Next verse. Matra svarshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukh dukkha agam paino anitya stastitikshasva bharata. So here in the 13th verse, Krishna is telling that the body keeps on changing, the soul remains the same. Because all these verses are linked together. Krishna, when he speaks, he's not going to just speak incoherently. It's all coherent. It's all linked. So here in this verse, he's saying, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and the disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception. O son of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Means you are not this body, the body keeps on changing, and now he is saying the happiness and distress that one obtains due to this body is also temporary. It's not permanent. Since the body is not permanent, the happiness and distress is also not permanent. And they arise from sense perception only, and one must learn to tolerate them. The problem is we don't tolerate. We think whatever problem I am in right now, it's forever. It's going to remain forever. No, it's not going to go away. And then we try to go see so many astrologers, so many doctors, and so many other people. Well, it just like in one place in Bhagavatam it is mentioned, just like we never ask for problems and the problems come on their own. So similarly, the good times will also come on their own without our asking for it or without our praying for it, without our pleading for it. So learned person, he keeps on doing his duty, he keeps on discharging his duty properly, whether materially he has any problems or not, or materially he has any problems, or materially he's in a very happy position. He still keeps on discharging his duties. In the proper discharge of duty, one has to learn to tolerate non-permanent appearances and disappearances of happiness and distress. According to Vedic injunction, one has to take his bath early in the morning, even during the month of Magh, January, February. It is very cold at that time, but in spite of that, a man who abides by the religious principles does not hesitate to take his bath. So one has to keep on doing his duty. And Prabhupada writes another example. Similarly, a woman does not hesitate to cook in the kitchen in the months of May and June, the hottest part of the summer season. Because it's her duty to cook, so she cooks. One has to execute his duty in spite of climatic inconveniences. Similarly, to fight is a religious principle of the Kshatriya, and although one has to fight with some friend or relative, one should not deviate from his prescribed duty. One has to follow the prescribed rules and regulations of religious principles in order to rise up to the platform of knowledge, because by knowledge and devotion only, one can liberate himself from the clutches of Maya or illusion. Means this temporary happiness or distress should not stop us from discharging our duty. So indirectly he's telling Arjun, you should still discharge your duty, even though you think you cannot be happy by killing your own relatives. Understanding that happiness or distress is only temporary. It will not be there forever. And here Krishna is calling Arjun, he called him two names, Kaunteya and Bharat, means son of Kunti. And like he's telling Arjun, from both sides, from both the maternal side and father side, you're coming from great family, great lineage. So you have a great heritage, and it brings in more responsibility for you to take care of your duties. And he further says, Yam hi na vyatyante te purusham purushrisha samdukha sukham dhiram somritattvai kalpate. O best among men, Arjun, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. So in previous verse he said, even there is happiness or distress, which is temporary, keep on discharging your duty. And here he's saying, one who is not disturbed by happiness or distress and is steady in both is eligible for liberation, because only a person who is gone beyond the bodily conception of life can only be steady in his discharge of duty, irrespective of whether he has material happiness or distress. Unless until we are above this bodily conception, we cannot be steady in discharge of our duties. So a person who is above the bodily conception of life, so definitely he is eligible for liberation. Prabhupada writes, anyone who is steady in his determination for the advanced stage of spiritual realization and can equally tolerate the onslaughts of distress and happiness is certainly a person eligible for liberation. In the Varnashram institution, the fourth stage of life, namely the renounced order, is a painstaking situation. But one who is serious about making his life perfect surely adopts a sannyas order of life in spite of all difficulties. The difficulties usually arise from having to sever family relationships, to give up the connection of wife and children. But if anyone is able to tolerate such difficulties, surely his path to spiritual realization is complete. Similarly, in Arjuna's discharge of duty as a Kshatriya, he is advised to persevere, even if it is difficult to fight with his family members or similarly beloved persons. So Prabhupada here is mentioning about sannyas or renounced order of life. In that life, it is very difficult actually. When goes through sannyas order, um, he has to give up his relationships with his family, with his wife, with his home, with his money, everything. He has to live completely dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's sannyas life. But in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, sannyas life means more than that. Not just completely dependent, but he has to also travel and preach the message, the glories of the personality of Godhead. That is sannyas. But since in this day and age, sannyas is not possible for all of us, for everybody. So even if one is living in the householder life, if one is detached, one has surrendered, one has dovetailed his life in the service of Krishna, it is as good as sannyas life. Sannyas life does not mean just changing the clothes. Sannyas life means changing the consciousness, changing the quality of our attachment, changing the direction of our attachment. From family, from our body, we change our direction to Krishna, to the service of Krishna. Then the person, even if he could be living in Grihastha ashram, he is as good as or better than a sannyasi. Just like the example is given of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Although he was a Grihastha, but he is considered as seventh Goswami. He had a job, he was a high court judge, and he was father of 10 or 11 children. And he was running a nice family. He was maintaining a nice family. But still, if we look at his lifestyle, his schedule of the whole day, it was even more tough than a sannyasi can follow. So that's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur, although Grihastha, he was a householder, but he was considered as seventh Goswami. So it's not that for sannyas or for to make advancement in bhakti, we have to leave the home and become a sannyasi. We just have to change our consciousness, change our way of life. That's all. A person can be living at home, taking care of wife and children, but even in his heart, if he is clear that this family of mine is a responsibility given to me by Krishna himself. And to maintain the family in a Krishna conscious way is my goal of life. And I should also remain Krishna conscious and live our life keeping Krishna in the center, service of Krishna, pleasure of Krishna, then that life is as good as the life of a sannyasi. So this is what Krishna is expecting from Arjuna, that you fight, but later on this is what I tell Arjuna, that you fight, but fight for me, without any sense of attachment, without any sense of proprietorship, and give up all kind of lethargy, means give up all kinds of reasons that you're giving that I don't want to fight, or any kind of disenchantment for fighting. Fight, and fight for me. Don't fight for yourself, fight for me. So then Arjuna was, although he was a householder, he was a Kshatriya, he was in the battlefield, he was going to kill people, but he is considered one of the topmost devotees of Krishna. He is considered as good as a sannyasi. That's Krishna is speaking of in this verse. Prabhupada is writing in the purport. So sannyas doesn't mean, well, that also means changing the dress and leaving the family and going to the forest or going for preaching. That's also sannyasi. But a person, even in the house, living at the house with the family, he can also be a sannyasi. Sannyas means changing our consciousness. So I'll stop here. I know we still have a long way to go in this theme, but only 5 minutes left. I'm going to unmute you all and see if anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, one question.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, what is the meaning of self-realization? Is it realizing that we are soul and not body, or is it realizing the real swarupa of the soul, that we are the servant of Lord under guidance of Radharani?
That's the topmost level of self-realization. Self-realization, the steps are, I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am part and parcel of Krishna. I have a relationship with Krishna, and whatever that relationship is, we have to revive that. So that's part of self-realization. And also, reviving that relationship involves serving Krishna. So that's all part of self-realization. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
But Prabhuji, you said that the person who rise above the bodily temptations, he becomes self-realized. I mean, I forgot the complete line.
He is eligible for liberation. Only person who rises above this worldly concept of life can tolerate the non-permanent happiness and distress, and is steady in discharging his duties. So only a self-realized soul who's above this, or only a liberated soul who is above this bodily conception, can only get to that level that I'm not this body, so any happiness or distress related to this body is not actually mine. It's not actually affecting the soul, and he still keeps on doing his duties without getting disturbed. So he's eligible for liberation. Actually, our problem, the first point of ignorance is we consider I am this body. And this is the first instruction Krishna is giving, you are not this body. It's very difficult actually to come out of this bodily conception of life, because millions and millions of lifetimes we have been under this impression, and I am this body. Every birth we think I am this body. Every person we meet outside, he also thinks he is this body. Anybody who abuses us, like we are driving on the road and somebody comes, koi gali de jata hai. The gali is for the body, not for the soul. But to come to that level is very difficult. And then, not just the body, we think we have the body, we think then I'm the controller, I'm the proprietor, I'm the enjoyer. Because ultimate aim is what? Of any materialistic man is to give comfort to this body. And then above the body is the mind. The mind is also a material sense, it's not spiritual. So give comfort, give satisfaction to the body and the mind. This is my aim of life. A person who is a material concept. So you'll think I'm this body, so I'll collect more and more and more money. This will give me comfort, this will give me satisfaction. If I have a big house, I'll be very satisfied, I'll be very happy. But he doesn't know happiness doesn't come with a big house. Then if I have crores and crores and crores of rupees, I'll be very happy because it gives satisfaction to the mind that I have so much of property, so many of assets. Does the body need all this? No. So to do that, he commits all these kinds of illegal activities. For what? Just to give pleasure to the body and the mind. That's all. Which we are not. So he will never be happy doing all this. Never. But this is what Maya is. Our ignorance starts with I am this body. And to give pleasure to the body and mind is my ultimate goal of life. And he keeps on running throughout this life, like Prabhupada given this example. He tries to find oasis or water in the desert. In this material world, the material world is as like a desert, and there's no water, there's no happiness in this material world. Body will never be satisfied, and above this bodily senses, the mind, it will never, ever will be satisfied. Until we come to the spiritual practices. Was Napoleon ever satisfied in his crusades when he wanted to be the king of the whole world? No. Any big businessman, is he ever satisfied? No. So where does it end?
Probably one last question.
Yes.
Probably sometimes I think that I am a soul, and as now we have known this Krishna consciousness process, so we can carry out this process in slowly in 2-3 lifetimes. I mean that can I carry this process slowly with a mix of material desires and I mean I want to know that what should one think to complete this Krishna consciousness process seriously every lifetime.
Completed. What is Krishna consciousness? It's not chanting 16 rounds is Krishna consciousness. Or chanting good 16 rounds is Krishna consciousness. We have to change our consciousness from bodily consciousness to Krishna consciousness. I mean, then this consciousness is our eternal nature, being Krishna conscious. So when we go back to the spiritual world, we'll always be Krishna conscious. So the process that we are adopting here is to bring us back towards senses, to our original position that we have somehow forgotten. Yes, it can take 1, 2, 3, 10 lifetimes. It's a slow process. So and the beauty, I would say it's a beauty. Beauty of this process is we don't have to show off to anybody. Why we have to show off that how advanced I am, or why I have to prove to anybody? It's my relationship with Krishna. It's my relationship that I have with Krishna, and it is eternal, and I am working on it. So there is no question of showing off. Yes, we should get encouragement, we should get inspiration on the path from others, and try to work more. That's all. So this path, this progress can take many lifetimes. When we study Nectar of Devotion, it is then. It's not in one lifetime we can start and finish the process. No. It can take many lifetimes. So let it grow gradually, let it grow organically, with no competition with anybody. There's no competition. Even if you're chanting 1 round, why I am saying everybody to post the number of rounds is so that it comes in our practice. That's all. Nobody is judging anybody on how many rounds and how many verses one has memorized. No. It's just to bring it into practice, that's all. So take it slowly, take it seriously. That is more important. And don't have any guilt feelings for anything. And then when we take it up, we take it up very with fixed mind. That is more important. Okay? So I think we should stop here. It's already 5 p.m. So tomorrow, same time, 4 to 5 p.m., we'll have the other class and we'll try to finish this theme. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you all very much. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Hare Krishna.